Good morning! It's the start of day 2. Day 2 of our road trips upon road trips reading adventures. Did you sleep
I'm awake. Well? Yeah, I slept real well. Yes.
Okay.
It was hot.
It was. You know, it's one of those heaters where either it's freaking cold and it doesn't work at all, or you turn it up a little bit and then it's like
90 degrees.
Yeah. And I didn't turn it up to 90 degrees, but
no.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. So one of the things we didn't mention last night was, well, this is because we got in so late and I was working on editing that video and trying to get it up, was that we are going to be reading physical books about road trips. So what are you reading, Mom?
Let me show you.
Because we did start. I only got a little ways in, but I started.
I'm putting it in front of my face because there's not much room here.
Here, I'll hold it. Here, I'll put it in front of my face. What are you reading?
I can't read it backwards. Something about a bunch of Katherines.
She's reading Abundance of Katherines by John Green. This is the book that I need to read, but I brought it because it's well, I haven't put that video out.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't talk about that.
But it is a road trip book.
It is a road trip book. Feels scattered or something like that. It's not going to be a really high-rated book. I'm feeling scattered.
You feel like the writing style is scattered.
Yeah. Is it yet?
What's it about? Yes, it's YA.
So there's a boy that was a prodigy. I guess at the age of 3, he started reading. Mm-hmm. His dad was sitting there reading a newspaper, and the kid started reciting what the newspaper was saying. Mm-hmm. So then they took him and had him tested. Yeah, he's a prodigy. Apparently there's a difference between a prodigy and a genius. Genius can invent stuff. Prodigy is just smart. So
okay. He's
now graduated from high school, and he's dated 19 Katherines. He only dates Katherines. And the 19th Katherine broke up with them on the date of their graduation.
Oh, high school graduation?
High school graduation. And he's so depressed, his little friend decides that, I know how to get you undepressed. Let's go on a road trip. And they're both like 18, 19. Oh no, one of them's graduated high school the year before and he hasn't gone back to college.
Okay.
The prodigy knows he has to go to college, but he's so depressed about Katherine number 19. So the book is about inside his brain and all his feelings about not being a genius, being a prodigy that's already burnt out. That's all the further I am.
Okay. So
Oh, you could. Wow, you got more room than me.
Yeah. I am reading The Neverending Story. So this is by Michael Ende. It's translated from German. And this is my second book for the Aurelium Readathon, which is this week. I already read part of Split Infinity, and then now I needed to pick up this one, at least get it started. And then this is also going to work for Middle Grade March. The reason I picked up this one for this road trip, though, is that there is a big journey that happens in this. Actually, there's quite a few journeys, because in the very beginning of this, the creatures from all the different parts of Fantastica, this fantastic world, are journeying to the Ivory Tower to talk to the childlike princess to try and get help, because, like, people are disappearing, things are disappearing, and they don't know what to do. In this story, we're following this kid named Bastian, and he's being bullied by his classmates, and he ends up in this used bookshop where he finds sanctuary from these kids. While he's there, he discovers this book called The Neverending Story. He steals it, and he decides to spend the day reading it. I've just started. But I know that in this story, because I've watched the movie, of course, as a child, that, like, Atreyu, who's one of the characters in this, goes on a long journey to try and figure out how to save Fantastica. And there's multiple modes of transportation, his horse, and then there's Falcor, which is this, like, giant dog dragon thing. I figured it would work for road trip journey, because there's a lot of journeys and stuff in this. So, and I need to read it anyways. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm only 35 pages in, but at least I got a start on it, because I didn't finish editing that video last night until, like,
midnight.
Well, yeah.
I think it was midnight.
Yeah. Here at the motel, they give us free breakfast, so we're going to go get breakfast, and then we have another bookshop to hit here in Roseburg, and then we're going to be on our way. We're going to be spending the night in Shell's place, and that's in Los Baños in California. We will be starting out by listening to The Road Trip, and then after that, I think we're going to listen to Travels with Charley by John Steinbeck. So that's a trip that Steinbeck did with his dog Charley around the U.S. So another road trip book, and then I don't know how far we'll make it along with our books, but we're halfway through The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary right now. So we'll catch up with you later.
Bye.
Okay, so one thing I completely forgot to mention was that I'm going to be including my Sunday sum up in this video. And so before we get into the rest of the vlog, I'm going to share with you what has happened over the past week before starting this trip. Okay, I got some great news. It is the 16th, Wednesday, and I was working on a paper that I finally finished and submitted that. Everything is done. Everything is done for class, for all my classes. I had finished math last week, science on Monday, and now my children's literature course is all done. And it feels great, but I'm also exhausted. So I feel like I got beat up a little bit. Even though this term wasn't that difficult, I think I'm just tired, and spring term will start before I know it. So I'm just gonna plan on enjoying every moment. Got a lot of things I need to do tomorrow to try to catch up before we leave for our trip, but I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm gonna try and push all the stress away and just do what I can. We'll see how things go. So wish me luck. Okay, so it is Thursday. We're leaving for our trip tomorrow, and I have got all the work that I need to get accomplished just to make sure that nothing goes wrong while I'm away. And I did some errands. I ran some errands, and now I'm home. And when I got home, there was a box on the porch, and I was like, wait a minute. I didn't order anything from Amazon. What is that? And yet again, I have been so spoiled and loved. I got a gift from my dear friend, Jessie. Jessie and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Since high school, I actually met Jessie through Shell because it's her sister. But Jessie and I have formed a very strong relationship over the years, but she moved to the East Coast. So we're in contact still, but not as much as we were before. And then recently she told me she's been watching all my videos. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. And it's very wonderful. So she's sending me an unhaul because she's moving, and so I'm gonna get a whole bunch of books from her, so that's wonderful. But then she sent me an actual gift for my birthday. And so her note says, happy belated birthday, Amy. I really enjoyed this picture book, and I hope you enjoy it too. So she's been watching my children's picture book battles, and one of the styles of books I said that I was really interested in getting more of or reading more of were wordless picture books, because I've been learning about this whole book approach where it's more than just a read aloud. You're actually talking about like the story, and you're having kids relay a story to you based off what they see, but you're also having them talk about different elements of the book itself, like the layout or the art style or the colors and different things like that. And so I am fascinated by this concept of wordless picture books. So Jessie, my beloved artist, she's an artist, a fantastic artist, and she sent me this book, The Wanderer by Peter Van den Ende. And this book is beautiful. It has so many incredible pieces of art in this. Look at this. This is so cool. And so it's based off real animals, but it's got this surreal feel to it. Like, look at this guy. It's one of those, what are those guys called? You know, those fish at the bottom of the sea. I can't think of the word right now. It's there. I just can't remember. But then it has like these lobster arms, and you can see, look at the tail, it's octopus. Like, this is so cool, and there's so many amazing pictures in this, and I cannot wait to see what kids have to say about this, because it's fascinating. So this is a gorgeous book, and I cannot wait to test this wordless picture book out on my students when doing a whole book approach. So thank you, Jessie. Okay, so I have just finished Front Desk by Kelly Yang. This is a middle grade fictionalized memoir because it is based off Kelly Yang's own experience, but of course there are elements of this that have been fictionalized. So this was fantastic. It's one of my 5-star predictions, and it's also my middle grade March book, and it's 5 stars. So for a little while I was thinking to myself, because this reads very mature, like this picture on the front does not represent well how this story feels when you're reading it. And so for a while I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm really, really enjoying this, but maybe like a 4.5 stars because it could use a little more detail. Like I'd like a little more detail. But then I had to stop and remind myself multiple times that this is a middle grade book. And for a middle grade book, this is perfect. Like it's the perfect level of detail. It was good pacing for a middle grade book. But despite all that, once I got to the last like quarter of the book, it absolutely earned its 5 stars from me. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed this. It made me cry. These characters are amazing. And it's about this young girl named Mia who comes with her family from China. They immigrate from China and they have a lot of dreams, but life is nothing like what they were expecting it to be. They get an opportunity to work for this man named Mr. Yao and run his motel. But he completely takes advantage of them, and it's a horrible situation. But they still try to make the best of it because they don't really have any other options. So this is the experience of Mia helping her parents run this motel, but then also trying to make friends in this new place, getting to know some of the people around her that are like live within the motel and some of their experiences. Because it's not just about her, it's about the people around her as well. It was really interesting the whole way through, and there were a lot of conversations that this book brought up about immigration, about discrimination, and I thought it was really well done. It didn't feel performative at any point, especially talking about some of the discriminating situations that had to do with like the non-Chinese people within this book. And so it was fantastic. I think this is an amazing book that I think kids would actually really enjoy, even though it has really tough topics. It's easy to read and it's entertaining. And this character is very likable. Mia's a very likable character, and I could see other children being able to relate with her. Okay, so we're in Roseburg. We just stopped off at our second book place, which you'll see in that other video. I know, I hate that we're teasing you, but what did you get?
I love Kay Scarpetta series written by Patricia Cornwall, and I'm decided to get all of them. It looks like there's like 15 or 18, and so I picked up about 5 more here, and I have a few at home, and we're doing a book crawl all the way down and back, so I'll probably be able to pick up most of them, I hope. So I'm really excited.
Blowfly was one of your favorites of 2021, so makes sense that you'd want to continue on that series.
I used to read it when I was maybe in my 20s. She's a medical examiner, so lots of dead bodies and a lot of explanation about dead bodies, so it's pretty interesting. So it's kind of fun to go back to it. Yeah.
So I didn't pick up any other books aside from the book that I needed for that video, and so we're gonna continue on. And
California, here we come. California or bust?
California or bust. Let's not bust. Let's just make it to California. We'll check in a little bit. We're gonna continue on listening to The Road Trip. Okay, we're in Medford, Oregon, which is, well, we're still about 6.5 hours away from Los Banos.
Okay.
And it's like 1 p.m.
Oh, look. Yep, 1:08.
Yeah. So we're going to get in a little late to Shell's house this evening, which is okay. We kind of had a nice late start. We took our time this morning because we were pretty tired. And we enjoyed going to that bookshop. That was a really cute bookshop.
And that didn't open until 10. It was cute.
I liked that one a lot. If you're ever in Roseburg, Oregon, go to While Away Books. It's a very cute used bookstore. Now we are in Medford, and we just stopped to let Cece out and go. What did we stop for at first? We stopped for gas, and then we stopped to let Cece out to go to a dog park because we figured she wanted to run around a little bit. There was one other dog, but she just wasn't that interested. She kind of wandered around a little bit, and then she was done.
We're walking her on leash, and we don't usually leash her at home.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, let's find a gated dog park.
Yeah, and it's big. It was a big space, but she didn't really want to chase after a stick. I picked up a stick and threw it for her, and she was kind of half-assing it. We wandered around a little bit more, but I got chilly because I forgot to bring my jacket, so then we came back to the car. So what are you thinking about the book continuing on without spoiling?
I'm really enjoying it. My goal is to see the romance,
The second chance romance.
So we're still waiting for that. There's so much drama.
There's a lot going on, and we're starting to see how toxic one of the relationships is, and it's hard to listen to. It's really hard to listen to.
Yeah, both of us were like cringing. It's unreal how toxic it is.
Yeah, there is a lot of drama in this. It's not like just a simple romance. There's a lot of factors, and we're kind of figuring out some of the problems that happened along the way. And it feels like their relationship was doomed because of the people around them, but also because of themselves. They did do a lot of self-sabotaging each other. They didn't communicate whatsoever. Yeah. And they were young, but they were really wanting the same thing, but going about it a terrible way.
And no communication. That's definitely a relationship killer.
Yeah. It's nice to go back in time to uncover some of the reasons why their relationship didn't work out, but it's also really hard to read those parts because those parts tend to be the ones that you're like, oof, these are awful moments.
Yeah.
We'll check in with you.
Will it be done today?
I think this will be done today. Yeah.
Because it was 10 hours, and we had quite a few hours on the road yesterday. Let's see how much we have left on it. Because, I'm curious.
Yeah, we've got 3 hours and 52 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we'll do it then.
So we'll finish this one by today. So then we'll check in with you when we're ready to start the next book. What would you rate it?
I think I'd rate it a 4.0. I was invested in it. I liked the characters, actually. I know you're saying that you may not have liked all the characters. I felt that Dylan was a worthwhile person. He just was lost.
Yeah.
I felt like Addie was a great woman, and she just had no confidence in herself. She was low self-esteem.
I really liked her sister,
Deb. Yeah, Deb was,
I felt like Deb had her shit together.
Yeah.
And she made her life happen the way she wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I didn't like them. They were such hard characters because of how messy they were. I did struggle a bit with the messiness of it. Like, not that I didn't like the book, but it was just so messy that it brought up a lot of raw emotions for me in having dated certain people in the past that were really
Toxic,
and it brought back those feelings. And sometimes you don't want to feel those feelings. I feel like, but I don't know, it's hard to say, because I feel like I probably would give it a 4 stars also, and especially because we listened to it in the car as an audiobook while we're doing a road trip. It's a book about a road trip, and that was fun too, because there were certain times where we were hitting traffic and they were hitting traffic on the book, and they were talking about going on this journey and we're talking about going on our journey. So like, that added experience was fun.
What was fun was that they were driving a Mini Cooper and they had 5 people squished in it. And since we've been driving, I've seen like 4 or 5 Mini Coopers on the road. They are so tiny. I can't even imagine 5 people squished into a Mini Cooper for 20 hours or 40 hours. They were on the road forever.
Yeah.
I guess just like our first day, we were on our road for quite a few hours.
Yeah, we were. And that was the other thing I was thinking is like, would I like this book as much as a book? Or did I really like it a lot because it was an audiobook, and the audiobook was so good? Like, the 2 main actors that played the main roles were fantastic. I haven't read too many audiobooks recently where I liked the narrators that much.
I definitely like the narrators. As I told you at the beginning, I absorb more when I read a book because I'm a visual person. I love to read the written word.
Yeah.
So there were many times we turned this back because we missed stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it happens in audiobooks a lot for me, at least. I know that doesn't happen for everybody, but like, my mind tends to wander a little bit. We didn't do it too bad though. I know,
but there were words sometimes that we missed. I'm going, what'd they say? And then we'd have to rewind it back. And I'm not saying that if I read the book, I tend to, especially if I like what something says, I like to go back and reread it. I can't say I didn't enjoy listening to this. I think the same thing you did. I think the narrators did an excellent job. I always knew who was talking, the sarcasm, the happiness, the sadness, very clear. So that was kind of fun. When I read a book, I get to have my own images. I get to make up the whole story in my mind. So sometimes, listening to it, I'm getting their images, not necessarily mine. But no, I enjoyed reading this, listening to this.
It was a lot heavier than I was expecting. The subject matter was a lot heavier than I was expecting.
It wasn't a light romance. No. It wasn't a Harlequin romance where they meet, they fall in love, something happens, and they break up, and then they get back together again. It was so heavy. I feel the same thing. Yeah. So heavy that you just cry for the participants.
For everybody, because everything was going wrong for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody except for Deb.
She figured her stuff out.
But Rodney, I loved his part.
No, what was nice about Rodney was that no matter how heavy the subject matter got, you always felt like Rodney came in at the right time to add comic relief.
We always did laugh when he'd say something. It was just so funny.
And break the tension that was being built up.
Maybe that's what he was, a comic relief.
Yeah. Are you ready to start the next audiobook?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I'm ready to do another audiobook.
Yeah, so I think we're going to do Travels with Charley next by John Steinbeck. And I don't know how long it is.
Have you read it before?
Yeah, I read it before. I finished it completely. I think I gave it like a 3 or 3.5 stars. You didn't finish it though.
I didn't finish it. It was, I don't know where it's at. It should still be in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I had it next to my bed, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So, I mean, it wasn't boring or anything like that. I must have picked up some other book and just put it down and completely forgot about it.
It's like a classic road trip story. So that's what, and the whole point of Travels with Charley is he's there with his dog, and we brought Cece. So I thought that would be kind of a fun one with you. So we're just checking into Hotel Shell, and there are some cute little chocolates on our pillows, which I think is adorable. Okay, so we have just arrived in Los Baños. We're staying at Shell's house. They're actually gone because they're going to a concert. No, it's a comedian show, Gabriel Iglesias, tonight. And so we have the house to ourselves. We can run amok if we wanted to.
And he's going to work on her daily
editing
vlog.
This. Yeah. And Mom might read a little bit, but she might fall asleep.
Tired.
Yeah. So any final thoughts? We listened to about an hour of Travels with Charley. Looks like it's an 8-hour audiobook. So
notice, yeah.
we're about 15% of the way through that one. So any thoughts?
I like the guy that's narrating it. He's very clear and concise and catches the feeling of this road trip. So they're just barely started the road trip and it's fun. I like Charley. He's a poodle, a big poodle.
Yeah, standard poodle.
And Steinbeck is going to chat with people. So I think it's going to be interesting.
We first learned about his truck, that he put like a camper shell on it or something like that.
A little house, like a tiny house on the back of it.
And then we learned about his dog. We learned about the Hurricane Donna, that he actually went out and saved his boat Fair Lane in the middle of this.
Amy's yelling, don't do it!
I was like, what an idiot.
95
mile per hour
winds. His boat made it through the first part of the thing, but after they hit the eye...
Other people's boats, because they hadn't tied him up well. Yeah. So he went out, jumped on his boat, cut off the ones that were tied to his boat, cut the lines to those, so those ones went to shore. And then he rode on his boat no, he didn't want to stay out on his boat because the winds were so bad. So he jumped on a branch
Yeah, I know, I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, and got pulled ashore. He's like, well, I'll get pulled ashore, no problem.
He's still alive, though.
Don't do that.
In there.
Don't do that during a hurricane. Steinbeck's not still alive.
Well,
he's well and truly dead.
He was during this storm.
He survived Hurricane Donna.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
So
Amy's gonna work on her vlog. Hopefully it won't be as long as you stayed up till after midnight last time.
Well, we're here later tonight, so it's almost 10. So yeah, I'm gonna be up a bit editing this, but I'm excited about it and I have energy, so it's gonna be fun.
She seems more awake than me. I'm exhausted, but I think it's just sitting there. I tried to drive a little bit. I'm not a good road tripper in the rain.
She's not a good driver at all.
I can drive sunny, clear, flat. We were in the hills. It was pouring rain. I couldn't see the middle lane. I couldn't see the lines on either side.
It was scary. And
I was scared, and I'm driving. Amy's sitting next to me. A diesel tried to knock me off the road.
She braked really hard in front of the diesel.
Well, he shouldn't have been riding my butt.
No, he shouldn't have been. He was a total jerk. Wait, whether or not he's a jerk, he has the bigger car. He was driving
in the
pretty
third
insanely.
lane behind me, going fast. I couldn't see.
In the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain. I was scared.
Yeah. So
Amy says, pull over.
Pull over. Pull over.
I may not get to drive the rest of this trip.
Well, Mom was hoping to drive to help me so that I could film. And that's not always a good idea.
I was scared.
So was I.
But we're alive and well in Los Banos.
Yes.
Can't wait to see Shell. And I can't wait to see Amy's
video. Look who just came! I'm still editing. It's 1:30 at night.
It's 1:36 in the morning.
Not done yet, but soon. You'll see more of them tomorrow. Say bye. Good night. Good night.
You're gonna add that?
So we will be continuing on with day 3 tomorrow. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens tomorrow on day 3. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.